up, footballers? James here, coming at you with a Chicago Fire Orlando City preview, along with some UFC 272 betting research. We'll be looking into this coming weekend's fights, MLS power rankings, and if we're lucky, maybe a little Atlantis. But let's get right into the thick of things. But before we do that, if you guys could just do us a little favor and kick that like button like it's a penalty kick. You're taken at Soldier Field this Saturday at 5 p.m. Let us know if you're going to be there at the game. We're excited about it here at Spitting Fire. We will be live streaming here throughout the entire game. We're unfortunately unable to go, barring some big change of circumstances. I don't think we're gonna be able to pull it off. There's big life events going on that preclude me and my brother from being able to attend. So cheers to the Chicago Fire this weekend, and all you fans going out there, and all you fans who will be hanging out here in the live stream while we watch it live on WGN and CFFC Live and wherever else it's going to be held on. Well, let's double check that. ChicagoFire.com. Let's take a look at the old schedule. Here we go. MLS Live on ESPN, WGN TV, and CF97 Live. Wow, they rebranded it. They changed it to CF97 Live. That was CFFC Live last week. Incredible. Really cool. Embracing some of the culture here at Chicago Fire. Some good change. I'm liking what I'm seeing there. I don't know how you guys are feeling about it. Let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments below. Are you excited for this coming weekend? Xherdan Shaqiri in his debut at his Soldier Field. The debut. Never played here, as far as I can recall. Of course, you guys can always correct us if we're wrong. What up, Karnine Bell for Red? Well, let's get right into the action here. I'll give you guys a little dose of what we're looking at here at Spitting Fire. And of course, if you subscribe to Spitting Fire, it would utterly delight us, along with Penalty Cow. Make her very happy. If you could ring that bell icon and let Chicago know Chicago Fire are here, and this here at Spitting Fire is the place to come for Chicago Fire live streams. So let's get into it. Kuba posting, this guy's mentality is fucking legendary. Hashtag CF97, hashtag Vamos Fire. I like how this logo looks with 1 star, but I think it would look better with 2. I agree. I concur. Gaga is, of course, Gabriel Slonina, the star goalkeeper for Chicago Fire. Of course, keeping a clean sheet in his opening match for this 2022 season against Inter Miami. What do we have in store for Gaga Slonina come game 2 here at Soldier Field? What do you guys think is going to happen to him between the sticks, between the pipes at Soldier Field? I think he's going to be fine. He's been there before. Take a look at last season. Gaga has been there before. He'll do it again. He's going to come up with a clean sheet. And Chicago Fire will win come Saturday, but we'll get into that here. As far as predicted starting lineups go, I think it's going to look a little something like this. Maybe 1 or 2 changes here and there. We'll certainly have Prishabilko leading the line. Xherdan Shaqiri penciled in at the number 10. Fabian Herbers, I think, will probably be starting. Probably on that left-hand wing. Will it be Ivanov over on that right wing, or will it be Duran? John Duran, young Colombian phenom. In the midfield, I think Gaston Jimenez will be a likely starter, but will young, homegrown product Mauricio Pineda be the starter and the starting center mid for the Chicago Fire at Soldier Field? Or will it be Federico Navarro? Let us know in the comments, guys. Moving on to that back line, we got Miguel Navarro Rafa Chicos, Wyatt Omsberg, and Boris Sekulic all penciled in for that back four. I don't really see that changing. If it does, maybe you have Bornstein coming in for Navarro. Maybe you have Burks coming in for Omsberg. But after what I saw last game, I think you got to start Omsberg. And right now, I'm going to present to you this, Chicago Fire fans. I think that starting right back position might be Omsberg's to lose after this next game if he puts up a successful effort at that right center back spot. Because who's behind him? It's going to be Carlos Turan, sometimes Pineda. But what if Omsberg, with that last game and in this coming game, has actually clawed himself out a starting role here for Ezra Hendrickson's Chicago Fire? He looked pretty good last week, so let's see if he could build upon that performance this week. And now, about this next Chicago Fire player, saw some fans, rightfully, maybe rightfully so, maybe wrongfully so, I don't know, because they were saying maybe we should expect a little bit more out of him, and that's of course Boris Sekulic, who last year, one of the Chicago Fire's better players. This last week, though, maybe he was not, but he was still okay. I think he still had his moments, but when looking at the tactical picture, Nicole Hack retweeted out a person who does stats for like Arizona State or some Western, some sort of Western state school out there, and it was saying that the Fire tended to attack on that left-hand side, but maybe that's because Rafa Chicos was being very much of an instigator for the offense, where Omsberg could be that stay-at-home defender. So and Sekulic and Navarro could kind of spread out. Omsberg tries to play that stay-at-home defender. Chicos also very timely in his attacking runs when he did decide to push that ball forward. He was taking the space that was allotted to him. Really liked what I saw out of Rafa Chicos, the captain, in his very first match for the Chicago Fire as well. The German did very, very well. If you take a look at the Chicago Fire's latest, go to your Chicago Fire YouTube, take a look at their latest videos. 3 minutes, 8 minutes, 18 minutes or so, but the video is 18 minutes, but I forgot what it's called. It's called like 3 minutes or greatness or something like that. I don't know. But in there, you will see Rafa Chicos giving out one heck of a starting, opening speech to get this team going. It's just, there's our captain getting these guys ready, and I was like, I'm on board, boys and girls. Let's go. Let's get this team going. And then you have Gaga saying things like this. I like how the logo looks with 1 star, but I think it would look better with 2. Now think about this. Riddle me this, folks. I don't think Gaga's gonna be here come next year. This kid is too good. If he is to come here next year, that means his price tag only grows. And that's awesome. But Chicago Fire have a chance to win the league here because Gaga in net, Chicos in goal, Gaga in goal, Chicos right in front of him, holding things down. They have defensive depth up and down that line. Jonathan Bornstein hasn't even played yet, and that's just like a great depth player there for the Chicago Fire. Moving to that midfield. Look, you haven't even started Fed Navarro, who's the predicted starter, and you have Mauricio Pineda looking quite good. Good depth there, at least for now. And then you move up even further. You have incoming Jairo Torres coming over in May 1st. Can't come soon enough because that right wing spot could use with a little burst of quality. Now, I think in my last assessment, we did it with DPG right after the game. We gave out grades for the Chicago Fire. I was a little harsh on Ivanov. I think I definitely would walk back what I'm saying. He's certainly going to start again for this team, but at certain points. But I think it might be time to start Duran to see what he can offer you. See what another type of wicked shot to have out there, like a wicked long shot, an aggressive type player capable of potting goals out there, and what that could do for this team. Ivanov got set up with a lot of chances, and you know what, for right or for wrong, I shouldn't I can't criticize him because guess what? He could go the very next week and he could pot them all. So we just gotta let these guys get a couple games underneath their belt, give them a chance to run out and find their feet. I think they will. Team looked impressive. I think they're going to be quite a good team this year. And Ezra Hendrickson has this team in a place where I have not seen a Chicago Fire team in a long time. If you listen to a couple of the other MLS podcasts, a lot of them were saying that they were surprised by one of the things that surprised them was that Chicago Fire teams of the past may have lost that match. They would have maybe found a way. Last few minutes, boom, there it is. Sure enough, and you guys know how it is. But that team last week gritted it out. They held it out and under a lot of pressure in a hot Miami. So props out, hats off to them. And I think that Chicago Fire are going to be quite good this season, and they're going to be something to watch. Something that the Chicago City will certainly enjoy. Meanwhile, over on the other side, we have Orlando City, who just came off of a victory against Georgi Mihailovic and the rampaging Club de Foot de Montreal. A decisive win against them too. Now, Montreal, of course, coming off of a Campeones huge Champions League win of recent. Let's double check against two. Santos Laguna. Yes, they beat them 3-1 in aggregate to move forward in the Champions Cup. However, that was about 3 days before their very first MLS match, and of course, those legs might have been a little bit tired. So, it turned out to a 2-0 loss for Montreal. Orlando City, who's coming to Chicago, riding high off of that. Now, I've listened to a couple of the Orlando podcasts. They think they have a chance. And I also listened to a couple neutral podcasts, and they also think Orlando really stands a chance. I don't think they stand a chance. I don't think they stand a chance in hell, Fire fans. You go watch some of that Fire content that's been put out lately, and you tell me that they have a chance. This next game is as good as a dub as ever. It's locked up dub. They're going to come out and they're going to destroy Orlando. They've been playing out in the cold all week. Ezra Hendrickson just getting them ready, boys and girls. Just getting the Chicago Fire ready to burn down these Lions in the big giant Coliseum that sits on the lakefront. It's going to be like something you've never seen, boys and girls, because Jordan Shaqiri's never been here before. We got Lake Michigan Messi. He's gonna be dancing over that ball, flicking off passes. He's got vision, precision, the decision making ability of this guy. It's incredible. So it's gonna be a lot of fun, Chicago Fire fans. Very excited. Back to Orlando City. Coached, of course, by Oscar Pareja. Galice in net. João Moutinho at left back. Jansen at left center back. Carlos, who made MLS Team of the Week last week, playing very well for Orlando City, so something to watch out there. And you have Ruan out in that right back. Pereira and Araujo anchoring the Orlando City 4-2-3-1. Michelle out in that left flank. Had a goal last week. Played very well. Pereira. They still got they got Perea or Perea. They have Perea and they have Pereira. Who played decent. Got an assist last week. And then they have Torres out in that right. And of course, we can't be sleeping on Alexander Pato up at the top of their 4-2-3-1. This is interesting. Just looking at Montreal's team, not only do they have a Mihailovic, they have a Miljovic. It's interesting too. That's funny. But so what we got here is a failure to communicate. Chicago Fire have won the last 3. I've won 3 out of the last 6. They have drawn 1 and Orlando with 2. I think Chicago Fire have this, especially because this is going to be a home match. Now let's take a look at what Chicago Fire have historically done at home against Orlando. Here, they tied them last year, 2 years ago, 28. I'm sorry, a couple years back in 2018. But the year before that, they trounced them. For nothing. That's of course at Bridgeview. I think that's at Soldier Field. And then last year at Soldier Field, Chicago Fire beat Orlando City 3-1. I think you could pencil this in as a... Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Of course, kick that like button, spread the fire, and greatly appreciate you guys coming here and hanging out here on Spitting Fire, talking MLS with us. It's a lot of fun. See you guys. I mean, you guys make it special. Let's get into these power rankings and explore these really quickly. We got New York City FC at the top of the ranks. I don't know how I feel about that, chat. Yeah, they won MLS. Yeah, they're the reigning champs. But do we really think they're gonna do it again? Ooh, what is this team? New York City FC. Let's go. Trophies, bro. Of course, you got Sean Johnson. And that defensive back line, though, is so good. Callens, Thiago Martins, Chano. That back line is really good. Maxi Morales. Alfredo Morales. Wow. Bias Gray. Avon Gray. And Valentin Castellanos. Very good. Wow. Quite a good team here. Interesting. Let's go to our good friends, Chicago Fire and Orlando City Club. Pato, Pereira, Vanderwater, Michelle, Junior Urso, Antonio Carlos, Pedro Galice. I mean, look at that spine. That's what you need. I really like that. Well, I'll tell you this though, Fire fans. This is not what the Fire play. They play 4-2-3-1, and their spine is looking very good. Because it got Shaqiri here. That is not accurate. Nashville SC. Now they are good. They went out and they beat Seattle. We watched the game here on Spitting Fire. We had a blast with chat. It was a lot of fun. I don't know if you guys want to come and hang out during a live stream or watch an MLS match. This is the place. Come over here, hang out. We have a blast. Do a little commentary. We get involved. Get the chat involved. The chat's my color commentator. I'm the play-by-play guy. The chat's color commentary. We highlight the game. We highlight you guys. We have a blast. And we enjoy ourselves. I like the Nashville pick. I almost feel like they're better than NYCFC, and I would take them over NYCFC for the rest of the season. But we'll see. Seattle Sounders. Now, everybody's darling. I don't know how you guys feel about this. I've been watching a little bit of Ryan Anderson over on YouTube. Great little follow. Check him out. just talks MLS, does some awesome live streams, and then has little post games that are pretty darn good. I like them. And but he was saying that Seattle Sounders might have already peaked. They're on their downturn. If this is the downturn and they're playing at third, is this the highest they're going to be on this list all season? Probably not. They're a damn good team. They're going to be up and down at the top all season long, but for how much longer will the Seattle Sounders continue their domination? That's what Ryan Anderson asked. I was curious about it. I'm curious to see. He might be right, because there's certain questions that are involved for the future of them, but still, they got a great GM. So we'll see how that turns out. New England Revolution. I put them at the top. There's my top team. I'm sitting here wondering. I'm like, where's my top? If I had to pick the top team, it's here. It's New England Revolution. I'm going with the team that has Bruce Arena. So let's just take a looky here at the New England Revolution. But you know what? Matty Turner, he's injured and he's leaving mid-season. So, but of course, this is power rankings right now. So this is what I'm doing. I'm saying New England Revolution, top of the pops. You got Buxa, Boo, Carlos Gill, Tony McNamara, Tommy McNamara, Leggett, Polster. Oh my God, look at that lineup. Look at this six. This front six here, Fire fans. It's ridiculous. You guys are gonna tell me I'm wrong? Okay, go ahead. Maybe I am. I think this is the best team in MLS. Number one right now. Jones on that left side. Juan, Henry Kessler, Hank, Andrew Farrell, Andy, bye-bye, Brandon, bye, over on that right back. And of course, Matty Turner in net for now, until he makes that summer move to Arsenal. This is a great team right here, coached by Bruce Arena. Very scary team. Atlanta United. Now, if I recall correctly, Atlanta United missed the playoffs last year. MLS 2020. Boom. Please, table. Atlanta made the playoffs last year, so I'm thinking about the year prior when they also missed the playoffs with the Chicago Fire. However, last year they rebounded, made the playoffs, solid team, 45 goals for, 37 goals against, solid defense, not super fantastic offensively. How did they improve? Got Joseph Martinez up top. It was down year for Joseph Martinez last year. I think he'll be fine this year. You got Marcelino Moreno, Thiago Almada, Luis Ora. Oh my goodness, I was just saying that. I was just looking at one of the best front sixes in all of MLS over on New England. No wonder you guys love Atlanta. Look at that. I mean, then you got Santiago Sosa and Osvaldo Alonso anchoring that midfield. Pretty darn decent there. Those guys might be underrated. Gutman at left back. Frank, oh my God, they got Andrew Gutman, who's just gonna be and because they just lost Bello. They sold George Bello for a whole bunch of money, and now Gutman has his starting role. Atlanta's probably number 2 on my rankings. Miles Robinson, Brooks Lennon, former Liverpool. Oh my God, and Brad Guzan, Illinois boy. This Atlanta team is ridiculous, boys and girls. It is ridiculous. Okay, so that is definitely New England and Atlanta, probably my top 2 teams at the moment as I debate this list. LAFC. Yeah. We've reached a point yet where LAFC can get voted in 6th place and it doesn't get dismissed as a meme or rep, because I don't know. Y'all kind of seems like they might be really good. Well, yeah, they are really good. They're a top 10 MLS team. Go over to LAFC real quick here, boys and girls. Arango, Carlos Vela, Brian Rodriguez, Francisco Ginella, who's weird. It's weird, but he's starting here. Latif Blessing was really good. Jose Cifuentes, Ryan Hollingshead, Jesus Murillo, Eddie Segura, and Diego Palacios, and Maxime Crepeau. Woo! Oh man, Crepeau and that's nasty. This team is nasty. Bob Bradley left this team to go to Toronto. This is a damn good team. Guys, hey, Chicago Fire, we might be new to the top, but the top of MLS is good. Woo-wee. And let's move on to the next thing. Yeah. Where are you? Where'd you go? Philadelphia Union. The Onion unwraps with all the talk of Philadelphia's new DP strikers elevating this season. Corey Burke scoring the Union's lone goal this weekend is kind of funny. I should note that one of those strikers, Michael Uhre, wasn't even available for this one. Like a little funny. There's not much other to say than that. The Onion played like the Onion, and it made me cry. A first game of the season version against a very good Minnesota team, and nearly came out with a win. 1-1 draw against Minnesota is what turned out for Philadelphia Union. I will knock them down a few pegs, but I don't know what you Fire fan thinks. Fire fans think the S in the proper location. Take a look at the Philadelphia Onion. Got a couple buddies out there. Good place. Sergio Santos. Julian Carranza. Daniel Gazdag. Leon Flat. Alejandro Botón. Jose Andres Martinez, Guy Wagner, Jack Elliott. I wish Chicago Fire could always pick him up. Like, great little player always for them. Glesnes, Jacob Glesnes, Olivier Mabitzo, and of course Andre Blake and Net, the Jamaican international. Of course, this team's good. Now this team's good in a different way. Take a look. Front six, not as powerful. Back six, where the power of that. Interesting to note for the Philadelphia Union and the way they play. Moving forward, got the Portland Timbers, the team on the West, who we often, well, not Fire fans probably don't really sleep on the Portland Timbers as much as most of the other MLS does. I feel like MLS often sleeps on the Timbers. But if you're a Fire fan, you certainly are. Got some buddies over there in Portland. Now let's pull them up. I'm trying to find them here. That is the Portland Timbers. Wow, we got Felipe Mora, Michara. Oh, you got Nitskoda. What's his first name? Gotta be. What's his first name, please? Nitskoda. Yaroslav Nitskoda. That's really funny. So Yaroslav Nits. Never mind or nothing. Nitskoda. Not sure what Goda means, but interesting. Nitskoda. George Fochive. And of course, Diego Chara. Chara. Is it? No, it's not that exaggerated. Sorry. Chara. There we go. That's perfect. Tyron Esprilla. Esprilla. I missed that. Sorry, guys. I missed that. Tyron Esprilla. Claudio Bravo, Dario Zuparic, Laris Mabiala, Jose Carlos Van Rankin, David Bingham. Portland, good all over. Look at that. That good mix of good all over the pitch. Interesting team setups that each team kind of has just like a different setup. Sometimes strong in the front, strong in the back, strong in different parts throughout. Just different ways to go about building your top team here at MLS. And of course, we're looking at the top teams of MLS right now. We're still in the top 10. Something to keep note. I always lose it. Tyron Asprilla, I believe. Columbus Crew. I'm not sure exactly how it happened, but Caleb Porter's deal with a supernatural force to have his teams be very good every other season had to be put together by an intern in the monkey's paw wish fulfillment department. He probably said something like, I sure wish I could consistently make the playoffs. Because that's what Caleb Porter sounds like. And instead of being fired and forced to lead a U9 team at Akron YMCA to an opening round loss each year, he ended up with whatever this is. Just to recap, we're on year 8 of his MLS coaching career. He made the playoffs in 2013, missed in 2014, made them in 2015, missed in 2016, made them in 2017, took a gap year, trying to figure out and throw the curse off, still missed in 2019, made them in 2020, and missed in 2021. All that to say, you couple that pattern with Columbus's absolute whomping of Vancouver over the weekend, it's hard not to feel good about the Crew. Porter's decision to start Miguel Berry over Giassi Zardes immediately paid off, and it feels like Berry could genuinely be the real deal. He put up the numbers over the course of a relatively small sample size last year, and well, the sample size just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and he just keeps putting up numbers. Okay, fine, we'll look back, and Miguel Berry and Columbus will both win Week 1 overreaction reward. But did I mention that Columbus had 2 wingers score? That has to mean something, right? I think so. 4-0 win against Vancouver last week. They're taking on San Jose and Almeida, the sinking ship, this week. Chalk that up as a win here, though, folks. You're betting. LA Galaxy still in the top 10 here. We've reached the point where even die-hard USMNT stan accounts are openly admitting their adoration for Chicharito on the internet. His enthusiasm, his candidness, his sense of the moment. It's so infectious. It makes you believe that when he scores a late opening day goal to beat the reigning MLS champs, absolutely no one on the planet deserved it more than Chicharito. It's remarkable to watch, and I'm desperately hoping we get a full season of it. The Galaxy wouldn't mind it either, of course, and there wasn't a win where Chicharito saved them out of nothing. They took it to NYCFC in the second half and capitalized on tired legs to earn those 3 points, but it's a solid start, I have to say so. And it might be a good thing that the LA Galaxy might be more aware than anyone of how little it means. Go ahead and take a look at LA Galaxy here. I know we skipped right over the Columbus Crew too. Yeah, let's you gotta dig into the Columbus Crew. We'll start there. I can't skip over that yellow team. Can't disrespect them like that. Columbus, where you at? Boom. All right, let's take a quick look. Zardes, Arand, Etienne, Matan. I don't like how good you guys are. You guys are good. Artur, Nagby, Moreira, Mensa, Danganek, Pedro Santos. Room, closing the door in the back. Pretty good team there. Backloaded and top-loaded. Do you think their weakness is at their wings with Derek Etienne Jr. and Matan? I don't know. I mean, those guys are good too. They're not anybody you could sleep on. This is a damn good team. But in Darlington Nagby, incredible that they got him. Lucas Zelarayan, great number 10 in MLS. Giassi Zardes, one of the better number 9s in MLS. In fact, the U.S. men's national teamer. I mean, what do you expect? Damn good team here in Columbus. See ya! And we'll move on to LA Galaxy and Chicharito. Javier Hernandez, Balsazar, Chicharito. I just fucked it up. Where did you go, Chicharito? Where did you go? Oh, where did you go now, Chicharito? Where did you go now? Chicharito, Figuro, Javier Hernandez, of course, Chicharito leading the line for MLS, now leading the line for LA Galaxy. Now look at this team. FIFA, not rating them so highly. Grand Sir, Victor Vasquez, who's actually pretty darn decent, ex-Toronto FC player. What is this, Cabral, Kevin Cabral on that left side. Mark Delgado, Ryan Reveloson, and Jorge Villafana. What is this? Who is this? Nick Dupay, Julian Araujo, Derek Williams, and James Jonathan Bond. Really not the most impressive team. Like, this is not the LA Lakers. Not even close. This is more like the LA Clippers. Top heavy for sure. And Chicharito, certainly quite quality to be able to help them win games. Now, is this a top 10 team in MLS? They're saying they are. I think this is a maybe top 18. Top 18 team in MLS. They need some help. But maybe they're better than I'm giving them credit for. Next on the list, Orlando City FC, who are going to come into Chicago and lose. And I wonder how that's going to affect the rankings. Because you have Orlando City here, and then you have Chicago Fire here at 21. So Chicago Fire at 21, Orlando at 11. What's going to happen this weekend? Chicago Fire is going to beat them 3-1, maybe 3-0, depending on the defense, depending on all that. I think Gaga's going to have it. Gaga's going to have it all day. Where it's going to happen, I don't know. Penalty kick. Last week it was a penalty kick, almost. Literally, we were seconds away. We were inches away from losing that game on a awesome. Thankfully, VAR came out and corrected the call. Oh, what's up, Ace Car? What's up, Sarah Day? Vort Red, what's up? We're just talking some Chicago Fire here, talking a little rankings, power rankings for the MLS before we get into a little UFC research. And as we look forward to betting UFC 272 and MLS this weekend on a big weekend of betting. Young DP winger Facundo Torres. DP forward Erkan Kara. And U22 initiative midfielder Cesar Araujo. All made their debut for the Lions, but Alexander Pato stole the spotlight with his first MLS goal. It's going to take a while for the new pieces to gel, but if Pato is about to put together consistent performances, it'll be far easier for Orlando to be patient with that process. I'm not too sure we can expect that necessarily, but I think we can expect manager Oscar Patea to have this team up and running at full speed relatively soon. When that happens, the Lions should be a legitimate problem for opponents. They have the talent at every spot on the fucking field to edit. And when something already, they are. I got excited there, guys. They have talent at every spot on the field, and something already feels more cohesive about this group after last year's pieces struggled to mesh together. I had them higher than 11th, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see them continue to climb a few spots throughout the year. I don't see it this weekend. I think they're going to lose to Chicago, but then that will rub off on Chicago, because if you think that this team's a good team, Wait till you see Chicago Fire. Chicago Fire. Chicago Fire. Chicago Fire. Chicago Fire! Ole, 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 ole. It's gonna be sick, boys and girls. Excited for the weekend. Minnesota United as the 12th team. 12th highest ranked team in MLS. Not sold on that. Good team, no doubt. 12th best team? Not sold. We'll move over. Take a look at Club de Orlando. ORL, where are you? Where are you? There are you. Pato Pereira. Yeah, we already took a good look at Orlando earlier when we were talking about them playing the Chicago Fire. We will move on through the nachos, get to the better chip. Move on to Minnesota United. Up where it's cold and the snow doesn't stop. Minnesota. Of course it does, I'm exaggerating. Who knew? Who knew? Who knew? Did you know who knew? I didn't know who knew. Did you know? I didn't know. Did you know? Who knew? Who knew? Adrian Hunu leading the line for Minnesota United. Fragapane. Sounds like a comic book. Franco Fragapane. Emmanuel Reynosa. Robin Lode. Will Trapp. It's a trap. Hassani Dotson. Romain Metanier. Michael Boxall. Oh, it's a great pickup on FIFA. Wow. Interesting. Dibasi Bakaya. Dibasi, that is. And of course, Chase Gasper. And Tyler Miller in that former Houston FC goalkeeper, who I long advocated would be a capable starter at MLS. Chicago for sure to look at, but I'm glad that they had him because Nat has paved the way for Gaga Sonina, who will lead us to victory on Sunday. All right, let's move on here, guys. Colorado Rapids. Hey, y'all. So, you okay? Let's not sugarcoat it. This has started about as poorly as anyone could have reasonably expected. At least no one's injured. Fortunately, it's hard to imagine this team bottoming out with so much ability at each position. I don't think they've been selected by the MLS powers above for a post-CCL heartbreak death spiral like other teams of the past. A full week between games should do them well, but an on-field reason for optimism would be nice. Putting up an XG of just 0.3 against LAFC, it's hard to see that reason coming against Atlanta next weekend. They lost 3-0 against LAFC. They're playing Atlanta this weekend. Ain't looking too good, but they're a good team, so they might surprise. I wouldn't bet on it. Sporting Kansas City is next on the docket. Before we get to that, we gotta go right back. And you better fucking kick that like button, boys and girls, like it's a penalty kick at Soldier Field at 5 p.m. on Saturday. It's gonna be in a fun match. Chicago Fire taking on Orlando. Of course, it's gonna be available on ESPN Plus, WGN if you're within 75 miles of Chicago, and CF97 live on the Chicago Fire's very own website. Also, mileage restricted. Now, the last one though, ESPN Plus, you can watch anywhere, so if it won't be blacked out there. Lost my train of thought. I'm talking about not Sporting Kansas City, but the Rapids. The Rapids of Colorado. Good place to go on a boat ride for action. Jonathan Lewis, I like that. Diego Rubio. Brian Galvin, it's Brain Galvin, he's an ex-Arthur character. You got Michael Barrios, Jack Price, Brian Acosta, the international from Honduras, and Andre Shinyashiki, the almost Chicago Fire draft pick. Austin Trusty, great little player. Danny Wilson, Keegan Rosenberry, and player of the game last week for them when they took on a team in Campeones League. Yarbaugh. Wes Yarbaugh. Let's say his name correctly. William Yarbaugh. He sounds like an old cowboy of the past. Colorado Rapids. Colorado Rapids. We'll check who they played here. Comunicaciones. And that was a great little match, but they lost the penalty kicks. But William Yarbrough was keeping him in it. Very impressive job by him. Liking that. Sporting Kansas City was totally no. It was totally understandable. Chicago Fire gotta be rated higher here, boys and girls. I totally think so. It was totally understandable to enter the year concerned about SKC's ability to replace Alan Pulido. And it might be fair to put Pulido's absence as worry 1A and whatever's going on with SKC's midfield at 1B. New signing Uri Russell started as SKC's single pivot defensive midfielder against Atlanta, then got subbed off in the 50th minute for 2021 summer signing Jose Marie, who then got subbed off himself 27 minutes later. You can take a look online on Twitter and probably find some sort of video about showing why he just did not have the effort, and you saw Peter Vermees throwing a fit on the sideline, just pitching a fit. Absolute. SKC should be fine against weaker teams. It's SKC after all, but there's a clear weakness here. Might be fair to worry that if it can be corrected with the current personnel. Now, this is the question. How much longer do we see Peter Vermees staying in charge of Sporting Kansas City? Are they always going to keep him there? Do they ever think that they need a new voice? Or do they think he's the perfect voice for Sporting Kansas City no matter what? No matter what talent's in there, no matter what level of talent they can bring in. I've always wondered about this when it comes to Sporting Kansas City, because we give Sporting Kansas City and Peter Vermees a lot of credit, a lot of kudos, and a lot of praise here between MLS pundits, between us fans, and the program that they run. They run a really good program. But my question is, how much longer are you going to be dealing with Peter Vermees if he doesn't win? When was the last time he won? He's won recently. So he's won far more recently than the Chicago Fire, though. Have anyway. So, question though for you in the chat there, folks. Very curious. Next on the docket, you got New York Red Bulls. The New York Red Bulls did Red Bull things against San Jose, and who kind of looked like a whole entire mess. Seriously, not looking good there in San Jose. 3-1 win to open the season, though, is a great start no matter what, and it's made even better by how center back Aaron Long played 90 minutes for the first time since May 2021. You gotta let me know. You gotta let me know. Music's too loud. Austin FC next at 16. Who knows how much you can take stock of a home win over Cincinnati, but anytime you score 1/8 of the goals in your team's history in one game in front of a packed crowd, you probably did something right. Austin FC. Digite, Driussi, I like. Yeah, Dominguez, Finlay, Fagundes, Ring, yes, I like. Romagna, Cascante, Nick Lima, Komanich. I'm thinking about doing this game on Sunday. I'm thinking about calling their game Austin FC. So let me know what you guys think of that in the chat against Inter Miami, because I'll be calling the Chicago Fire game, of course, at 5 o'clock, but most of the other games are going to be playing, and I won't be able to call any earlier games, unfortunately. Those power rankings. CF Montreal. Now, this is a team that should be ranked higher, in my opinion. They're going to be going up. I'm genuinely unsure what CF Montreal did to my colleagues, but it must have been a deeply personal and stuffed to the brim with spite. 17th? I triple checked this one just to make sure I tallied the votes correctly, and here we are. Even every other CCL team that played midweek lost this weekend. And here goes Wilfred Nancy's into the bottom 40% of teams, and George Mihalic is on that team. No, I don't think so. Sure, they wilted a bit in Orlando Sun on short rest, but my goodness, did they thump Liga MX's Santos Laguna the other night. They beat them so bad, Santos Laguna fired their manager. If you get a Liga MX manager fired, you deserve to be at least in the top 10 the week after. And it's just as a general rule, I had them 9th. If it makes anyone in Montreal feel better, the author had them 9th. I'm gonna go walk this off and maybe watch Romiel Kyoto and George Mihailovic torch Santos again. Reference the author. J. Sam Jones. I think Montreal will be a much higher in this list later in the year. FC Dallas, well, this is certainly one way to start the year. Can't show it. That's a stunner created by two of the people Dallas's fans wanted to see more than most than anything else, creating moments exactly like that. The hockey assist from Paxton Pavical is excellent, and Paul Arriola's final ball is inch perfect. It's the most encouraging moment of the game for a team that had a good number of encouraging moments. They finished with a 2.6 XG on the day and gave a goal on the only shot Toronto put on frame. It's usually worth 3 points. And they tied Toronto last week, 1-1. Taking on top team in New England this next week. Not too confident for FC Dallas. Good luck. I'd rather bet on New England myself. DC United taking on Cincinnati next week after a 3-0 win versus Charlotte. DC United did DC United things and beat up the league's newest team, Charlotte. Things will get a lot tougher going forward for the black and red as they face Cincinnati, Chicago, and Toronto. Let's so Cincinnati is going to be towards the bottom, and they don't. Where's Toronto? Wow. Oh wow. So they don't. Chicago Fire getting no respect. Toronto also getting no respect in this list. So I gotta say, hey J Sam Jones, be ready for Chicago Fire to surprise. Great article though. I love reading it. I'm very much enjoying it. At the very least, for Toronto CFC, let's rewind back to DC. DC United did DC United things and beat up the league's newest team. Things will get a lot tougher going forward for the black and red as they face Cincinnati. Nope. Chicago. Yes. Toronto. Yes. It'll be more difficult than this. So we might be about to end up with DC United on top of the league heading into April. You're wrong, Jay. Maybe don't ever react if that happens. This is where you're wrong, Jay. Sorry. I've been enjoying this article, just chewing it up like it's a Billy Bar from DQ, but not agreeing with that rejection from my stomach. Moving on to number 20, Toronto FC. At the very least, the kids are playing. Jay Nelson, DeAndre Kerr, and Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy, who looks very good, started this weekend in Texas. It wasn't a perfect start to Bob Bradley's tenure, but it definitely wasn't a bad one either. This was always going to be a slow build back up for the Reds. They tied Dallas 1-1, and they're taking on Red Bull New York next week. It'll be tough times for Bob Bradley against Red Bull New York. We'll see how it goes. Here we are, number 21. Having a little sense of deja vu here, guys. Chicago Fire. Chicago absolutely played a soccer game this week. And I watched it too, and I'm sure something happened, but whatever it was, I can't really remember. I think it mostly just missed chances. A road point is a road point, though, and at the very least, Gaga Slonina is a stud, and Xherdan Shaqiri got a chance to get his MLS legs under him. Shaq dished out 5 key passes in his debut. Also, no place in the world for war. Families are the victims. Love and peace. We are with you, Ukraine, says Gaga Slonina. Real Salt Lake on his jersey. Real Salt Lake at number 22. And now I totally disagree with this. They got to be in the top 15. I think they're a top 15 team. Same thing with Georgi Mihailovic's team. I think you're sleeping on those teams there, Jay. Moving on to Real Salt Lake. I can confirm that they played a soccer game against Houston. I can confirm it as well. That didn't take much. That did not take much effort there, Jay, to confirm that. Put a little more effort into the confirmation. Confirm a little more. Maybe confirm something else. But still, enjoying your article. Sorry, I'm shitting on you right there. Vancouver Whitecaps. Goodness, I'm not quite as fired up about it as Montreal, but this is a steep drop after one game for a team that made the playoffs last year. And to be fair to the voters, though, Vancouver came out like this. Can't show it. They did not start strong. I would imagine this as low as they go this year. They're too good to look like this every week. Although I'm increasingly worried about Maxime Crepeau being the duct tape that held everything together. They should be fine, and I doubt they'll slip below the spot, right, guys? Right? Damn it, lost me, man. Maybe it's me. I don't know. No soup for me, maybe. I don't know. Inter Miami CF. Gonzalo Higuain had 7 key passes that led the league this week. That's even 2 more than Shaqiri had. So that's basically a win. Hang the banner for Inter Miami. Get out of here. Inter San Jose Earthquakes. I'm just not sure soccer is this complicated. That Almeida is just like, he's complimenting Hector Herrera going over to Houston FC. So he's really not doing too well over there, Almeida. You can see him losing it. It's just unraveling for the San Jose Earthquakes over there in the 25th spot. I think you should put them probably last. But they're a better. I know they're a slightly better team because they have Almeida, but a disinterested Almeida, a checked out Almeida, nope, out. Houston, San Jose should just bring in somebody else right now. I don't know why they even continue with this guy. Houston Dynamo, and let him go to some place where he could have more joy coaching soccer again. Houston Dynamo FC, I can confirm they played a game of soccer against Real Salt Lake. Come on, Jay, once again, you're killing me here. They did more than just play a soccer game. They had a ball. Charlotte FC, it could have been worse. An early video review decision left them waiting for their first goal in team history, and a few other breaks that went DC United's way doomed them in game 1. They didn't deserve to win, but they didn't deserve a 3-0 scoreline either. Anyway, it's probably better that they saved their first goal for a home debut crowd of 75,000 fans. They're going to score this weekend, right? Against LA? LAFC? Oh, against the Galaxy at Bank of America Stadium. At the Bofa Stadium, home. Yep, they got to score, right? But I don't know if they're going to win. They could beat Chicharito's team. That's not necessarily a great team. FC Cincinnati. Of course, the final team in MLS is FC Cincinnati. A lot of big soccer media and the author spent time this offseason praising FC Cincinnati for signing goalkeeper Alec Kahn. Kahn's underlying numbers when he got his chances to play for Atlanta United were among the best in the league. Even with a small sample size, that's encouraging. Yeah, so pretty much all of that's gone now after Cincy gave up goals, including a Kahn own goal in their first game of the season. I want to believe so badly that this will be the year that they go spoonless, but last weekend just reinforced how challenging the job is ahead of general manager Chris Albright and head coach Pat Noonan. This is strong vibes of a multi-year rebuild. Yikes. That's our MLS Power Rankings assessment. I agree with quite a few of those, not agreeing with quite a bunch of those. Great article, though, nonetheless, because you always have to take a shot. Somebody's got to put them together. Thank you, J. Sam Jones on MLSsoccer.com. Link in the description. And guys, to close the broadcast, let's get into a little UFC this weekend. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm so excited. I love UFC. I'm a big UFC fan. Just watched always since college days. Love me some Bellator. Love Invicta. Just occasional boxing. We have Tyson Fury going. I think, did he already fight or is he going? Tyson Fury fight. Doesn't he have a fight coming up? Yeah, Dylan. Tyson Dylan White. When is that? April 23rd. Tyson Fury versus Dylan White. That's going to be a fun match. Absolutely going to try and tune into that one. Oh, yeah. That's a big boxing match there, folks. Excited for that one. And now we'll get into UFC 272. Of course, the top card, Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal. RDA, Rafael Dos Anjos. Rafael Dos Anjos, legend of the game, taking on Renato Moicano, who steps in for Fiziev, who I think who picked up a little something on his way to the arena. So he is not going to be able to play out in Las Vegas. In steps Renato Moicano. You know, not a bad step in. I mean, you could have far worse people stepping in. And plus, RDA is going to have a shot. I don't know how this is going to work. We'll get into that. Edson Barboza. That's going to be an awesome fight as well versus Bryce Mitchell, the grappler. Kevin Holland versus Alex Oliveira. Sergey Spivak versus ex-NFL football player Greg Hardy. And then on the lower card, you got Jalen Turner versus Jamie Malarkey. Jalen Turner versus Jamie Malarkey. Marina Rodriguez versus Xiaonan Yan. Nick Negumereanu versus Kennedy Nezchakuwu. Mariana Moratz versus Maria Agapova. Umar Nurmagomedov. It's Khabib's cousin. Umar Nurmagomedov. Khabib Nurmagomedov's cousin. I can't say it, guys. Brian Kelleher. I can't say Brian Kelleher. I'm struggling with these. I'm just pulverized. All of those MLS names from all sorts of different countries. I'm getting bamboozled a little bit here. Tim Elliott versus Tagir Ulanbekov. And Ludovic Klein versus Devontae Smith. Dustin Jacoby versus the Pole, Michael Oleksichuk. And that's our matches for the upcoming weekend. When is weigh-in? 72. Weigh-in. UFC 272. When is the weigh-in? Did it already happen? Nope. Tomorrow. 15 hours. There it is, boys and girls. Reminder set. That'll be so much fun. Covington, Masvidal. Guys, it's coming! Oh, I'm jacked up for this fight, guys. Are you not jacked up for this fight? Are you kidding me? It's a blood match. Oh my God. This is a blood feud here between Masvidal and Covington. Used to be best buds. Now hate each other. Just listen to some of what they were talking about. I don't even want to repeat some of the stuff, and I don't usually mind repeating and talking and saying anything, but damn, they were talking about their families, getting all up in each other's business. Masvidal and Covington, it's gonna be an awesome fight. These guys used to be sparring buddies, used to wrestle together, used to fight together, used to punch each other in the face together, used to have a lot of fun together. And then somebody turned their back on somebody, and the blood has only boiled since then. We got an exciting UFC bout coming this weekend here, boys and girls. Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal. This card is just bonkers. This, of course, article is by E. Spencer Kite. What's with these names? E. Spencer Kite. You can't go with your first name. Funny. The same thing with our last guy too. But whatever. Fine. Still love you. Okay. Why am I criticizing? You're my buddy. We like UFC. Let's fucking have some fun. This card is just bonkers! After sitting here staring at my screen for 10 minutes trying to find some cool way of leading into this breakdown of every matchup on Saturday's UFC 272 fight card, I realized that an event with this many outstanding fights, this many compelling bouts, and this many talented competitors didn't need some quippy intro or me waxing philosophical. All that is required is for me to tell you this fight card is bonkers. It's so bonkers that there's not even a title match on there, and that's just my own aside, guys. There's not even a title match on this card, and that's how bonkers it is. Back to what the author is saying, and if you don't believe me, check out what's on tap for this weekend at T-Mobile Arena, and then try to tell me that you're not excited. Let's get into it, shall we? Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal. Everybody loves a good friends turn foes story, but it's even better when they're two of the top competitors in a talent-rich division, as is the case with Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal. The duo were ultra tight, as they were each on the come up, living together, cornering one another, and doing the whole us against everybody thing, right up until a couple of years ago when Covington claimed the interim welterweight title and went all in on his heel persona. Now, these two dudes legitimately despise one another. And if you listen to the tail of the tape of these few interviews, even them talking to Michael Bisping over on BT Sports about it, these guys are I don't think these guys are faking their dislike for each other. Certainly, they're putting up on a show. Covington's playing up a character. Masvidal seems to be, not maybe more of himself, but it's these guys don't like each other, and they're talking some lot of crap about each other, doing some no-nos as far as what you do in MLS and as far as UFC. When you're talking about a guy's family, when you're talking about certain things, those are typically off limits. But when you go there, it means it's on. It means something's up. Now, these dudes legitimately despise one another, and while they surely won't settle their differences on Saturday night, they're certainly going to beat the heck out of one another, and that's for sure. Covington enters off a decision loss to Kamaru Usman at UFC 268. It was the second time he'd come up short in his quest to unseat the reigning welterweight champion, and he was even closer to claiming gold, pushing Usman to his limits in the 5-round battle. It was an awesome match. Covington put up a fight. That entire battle, really like what we saw out of Covington. There was a couple moments where you're like, oh man, he's got a chance here, and then Kamaru took control. But great second effort out of Colby in that fight. Really made you think that, oh wow, this guy's really good. And you know what happened after that? Right there on the pitch, on the UFC tarmac, Kamaru Usman said, this guy's the second best guy in the division. And he fought Masvidal the year before. So think about that. Usman fought Masvidal the year before, knocked Masvidal out with one of the punches of the century. Just one of the. Go look at this. Look at this up on UFC. Masvidal, Kamaru Usman, 2. Bam. Just pure catches him on the face. It's a beautiful lights out. Even Masvidal after the match was saying, "He got me. He got me good. Wow, it was a great fight." And it was good. It was a good fight. But Kamaru Usman, that was in UFC 261. In UFC 268, Kamaru Usman went out and beat Colby Covington in a 5-round match that went to decision. It was not a knockout this time. What up, Misty Posh? What up, what up, chat? But so this decision went towards Kamaru Usman, and Covington lost. But Covington felt robbed. I don't know if he was, but he put up a good fight nevertheless. He did not do enough to maybe push the champion off of his title, but he did enough to make all of us go, Colby Covington? But he is 34 years old, 34, 35, getting up there in age, and time's going to be closing for him. Certainly closing for Masvidal, who I think is 39, 38 years old. Let's double check that. Masvidal. He's 37. So he's getting up there in age as well. These guys are at the top of their division, though. They're the number 2, number 3. I think Masvidal also holds a belt in a defunct division. But this is for 170. It's going to be awesome. Let's get back into it. Covington enters after a decision loss to Kamaru Usman at UFC 268. It was the second time he'd come up short in his quest to unseat the reigning welterweight champion, and he was even closer to reclaiming gold, pushing Usman to his limits in the 5-round battle. Regardless of how you feel about the things Covington says when the cameras are rolling, And when he's got a microphone in front of him, there is no denying that the 34-year-old is an outstanding competitor, a marauding grinder that has steadily improved his striking and figured out how to weaponize his pace and his conditioning in a manner that is second to none in the sport right now. But he's 34 years old and getting older. Still, Masvidal had to back out of a fight earlier this year, so keep that in mind. That's what set this fight up. Masvidal has also come to this fight off of a second loss to the Nigerian Nightmare. After going the distance with Usman on short notice at UFC 251, the duo ran it back last spring at UFC 261, and it was the challenger that got baptized, as he likes to put it. A minute into the second round, Usman clocked Masvidal. Take a look at the highlight, it's amazing. With a perfect right hand that sent him twisting to the canvas in a heap, leaving no question as to who the better man was. Now, the former title challengers and friends will finally step into the octagon with one another with nothing on the line but bragging rights. But given the level of animus between these two, that is more than enough. Each man wants to bury the other, and both are capable of executing that plan in multiple ways. This is one of those fights where the tension will be palpable from the time Masvidal starts making his way into the octagon Saturday night, and it will continue that way until the final horn sounds, and one of them is left beaten on the canvas. Now, I was listening to an awesome podcast earlier. I will mention it in a little bit here, somewhere. I don't know. I just can't pull it up right now. I don't know it off the top of my head, but they were talking about Masvidal right when those first 10 minutes are getting up and he's getting the tape going on, might be feeling nervous about getting punched in the face the previous time and getting his lights knocked out. Might be thinking about that, might be getting nervous, might be having, but you can't be too afraid of Covington's knockout power because he much of it. Covington, of course, more of a get you on the ground and wrestle you and hold you down guy. But if we look at Covington's last fight, did not do that against Kamaru Usman. In fact, stood up with Kamaru Usman most of the match, so something to think about. Each Rafael, and I think that's it. So boom, and we're gonna move on to the legend of the game, legend of the mat, Rafael dos Anjos versus Renato Moicano, who's stepping in here on short notice for Rafa Fiziev, who originally were gonna have the battle for the name Rafael. It's gonna be Rafael dos Anjos versus Rafa Fiziev. Fiziev came down with something. You could look it up. You probably know what it is. You could probably guess. And Renato Moicano comes in, bam, to fight. So it's gonna be pretty awesome, though. Good fighter to get here. A couple weeks ago in Houston, Renato Moicano stood in the center of the octagon after finishing Alexander Hernandez at UFC 271 and pleaded for a chance to prove himself against ranked contenders in the lightweight division. 3 weeks later, the Brazilian is getting his wish. As Saturday night in Las Vegas, he'll step in against former champion Rafael dos Anjos, RDA, in the new 272 co-main event. This should be a highly competitive affair between a well-rounded, experienced set of fighters that share a number of similarities, but also a smattering of key differences. A week after Islam Makhachev's and Arman Sarukin's earned dominant finishes, the outcome of Saturday's pairing between the 6th-ranked Dos Anjos and the hungry Moicano will determine which one of them will head towards the summer on the fringes of title contention, staring down a potential date with another top 10 opponent, and which of them will be forced to reevaluate where they stand in the division and in UFC. Edson Barboza versus Bryce Mitchell, next on the docket. Edson Barboza and Bryce Mitchell will meet in the middle of Saturday's pay-per-view main event card for a clash between top 15 featherweights looking to build some momentum to start in 2022. Barboza has just 4 wins in the last 10 fights, yet you're still not going to find many people that would question the Brazilian's talent, competitiveness, and place in the 145-pound weight class. After splitting his first 2 appearances in the division in 2020, he kicked off last year with a 3rd-round stoppage win over the always game Shane Burgos before suffering the same fate himself at a main event clash with Giga Chikadze. One thing that's been the word on Edson, though, he's always taking fights. He has a packed schedule. This guy likes to get his knuckles bruised. Mitchell was one of the breakout talents of 2020, earning consecutive victories over Charles Rosa and Andre Fili to push his record to 5-0 inside the octagon and land a place inside the top 15. Now, the former Ultimate Fighter contestant hasn't fought since Halloween engagement with Fili, but has proven himself to be one of the best grapplers in the game, and that's how he's dispatched most of his opponents thus far. And this matchup with Barboza should help determine whether he's ready to actually enter the championship mix. This is a similar pairing between the clash between Dos Anjos and Fijev, except the styles are swapped, and Barboza is a dynamic striker with crisp boxing and a powerful array of kicks in his arsenal. Of course, Fijev, no longer going to be fighting, is now Moicano. While Mitchell and Barboza, who will be taking on Barboza, prefers to handle his business on the ground. Each man, Barboza and Mitchell, could use a dominant effort to cement their place in the pecking order and give them sound footing for a push towards the top of the division in the second half of the year. So accept nothing but the best from each one of the octagon when the octagon door closes this weekend. Of course, we got Kevin Holland and Alex Oliveira coming up next. Kevin Holland makes the move down to welterweight for the first time in his UFC career, looking to recapture the form that carried him to 5 victories in 2020. Now, this guy's also a grinder, loves to get his knuckles bruised. Welcome him into the divisions is Brazil's Alex Cowboy Oliveira, who will look to add to the newcomers' slide while halting one of his own. Of course, Cowboy Oliveira liking a bit of a wild man, but also a bit of a badass as well. The talkative and boisterous Holland, however, entered 2021 with a ton of hype and momentum after closing out a 5-win year to the 2020 with a first-round knockout over Jacare Souza. 2 fights later, all that buzz was gone as Holland outworked and out-wrestled by Derek Brunson, who's a good fighter, and Marvin Vettori, another really good fighter, in consecutive losses spaced 20 days apart because he's a baller. He returned to the octagon in early October in a bout with Kyle Daukaus, who's also a grinder, where the two clashed heads midway through the first round, resulting in the fight ultimately being declared a no contest. They were expected to run it back a month later, but Holland was forced out of the rematch and subsequently opted to switch divisions at that point, dropping down to this one. Now in his 8th year on the UFC roster, Oliveira enters on a 3-fight slide. The 34-year-old was first. It was the first UFC welterweight to fall to Shavat Rachmaninoff, losing to the unbeaten Nomad at UFC 254, and then caught back-to-back losses in bouts against Randy Brown and Nick Price last year, dropping his record to 11-9 with one no contest and 21 UFC fights. Will a change of scenery be the remedy to Holland's recent struggles, or will the Brazilian veteran add to his misery while editing his own extended skit? Reading that, I'm actually thinking Holland's gonna win there, guys. Going back to these earlier fights, I think Colby Covington takes it. I think Moicano takes it. I think Holland takes it. And then here's the last of the big card, Sergey Spivak versus Greg Hardy. Saturday's main card starts in the heavyweight division as Moldovan polar bear Sergey Spivak looks to get back on the win column when he takes on Dana White's Contender Series graduate and ex-NFL player Greg Hardy. The 27-year-old Spivak made 3 appearances in 2021, securing a second-round stoppage win over Jared Vanderaa in February before collecting a unanimous decision victory over Alexei Olenek 4 months later to push his winning streak to 3. He landed on the wrong side of the results against Tom Aspinall in September, but remains an intriguing name to watch in the heavyweight division heading into this one. Hardy has already fought 9 times in his first 3 years in the UFC roster, but after a quick start and some positive results, things have slowed down and been more of a struggle for the DWCS slump. The 33-year-old had a tidy 2-fight winning streak snapped by veteran Marcin Tybura in his 3rd appearance of 2020, and followed that up last year with a knockout loss to surging contender Tai Tuivasa in his lone appearance last year. Both men had stood on the brink of breaking into the top 15 in the past, and one of them will draw closer to accomplishing that feat this weekend. Spivak is a more experienced and more technical fighter, while Hardy remains an explosive athlete still trying to piece things together as a mixed martial artist. It will be interesting to see which one prevails Saturday night. I think it will be Sergey Spivak. So, Jalen Turner and Jamie Malarkey. Jalen Turner and Jamie Malarkey meet in a battle of streaking lightweight finishers looking to take a big step forward in 2022 on this weekend's preliminary card. Already 2-0 against Australians in the UFC, thanks to a stoppage wins over Callan Porter and Joshua Kulibau, Turner looks for a third triumph over Aussie lightweight and a fourth straight victory overall. The Tarantula was dominant in securing a first-round submission win over Uros Medic in his lone appearance last year and carries a perfect finishing rate into Saturday's contest. Malarkey entered the UFC on a 4-fight winning streak, but dropped his first 2 appearances by decision. The first to Brad Riddell, and the second to Faraz Ziam a year later. Now, since then, however, the 27-year-old has bounced back to the consecutive highlight reel finishes, knocking out Tama Worthy in under a minute at UFC 260 before collecting a second-round stoppage win over Devonta Smith in a little over 6 months later. Pretty impressive work there. There is no margin for error in this lightweight division, and neither of these two has any interest in taking a step backwards now that they finally built some momentum. Expect a tight competitive affair for as long as it lasts, with a very strong likelihood that it does not go the distance. Next on the docket, Marina Rodriguez versus Yao Jianyan. It's a clash of strawweight contenders on the UFC 272 prelims as Marina Rodriguez puts her 3-fight winning streak on the line. Winning streak on the line against Chinese standout Yan Xiaonan. After fighting just once in 2020, Rodriguez entered last year eager to fight at least 3 times and focused on working her way up the divisional ladder, and she has done just that. The Brazilian started the year with a second-round stoppage win over Amanda Ribas on Fight Island, and then followed up with consecutive unanimous decision wins over Michelle Watterson and Mackenzie Dern in back-to-back main event assignments. Jan arrived in the UFC on a 6-fight unbeaten streak and pushed that number to 12. By earning victories in each of her first 6 trips to the octagon. Like Rodriguez in 2020, the 32-year-old fought only once in 2021, losing to former champ Carla Esparza, sending her into battle this weekend, looking to rebound from her first loss in over a decade. Wow. She does now lose. With Esparza expected to get the next title shot and these two stationed inside of the top 5, most envision Saturday's pairing between Rodriguez and Yan as a title eliminator of sorts. Especially if the Brazilian is triumphant. Regardless of potential stakes, this should be a highly competitive fight between the 2 of the best strawweights in the world, and a bout that helps dictate the direction that it will take in 2022. Nicole Negumereanu and versus Kennedy Nzechukwu. Light heavyweights, with a penchant for leaving the judges out of things, land opposite one another this weekend as Nicole Negumereanu squares off with the African savage Kennedy Nzechukwu. Negumereanu underwent back and knee surgery following his debut loss in March 2019, resulting in a 2-year absence. He returned to action last spring, collecting a split decision over DWCS grad Alexa Kamur before getting back to his finishing ways 3 months later by dispatching Ike Villanueva in just over a minute. Nzechukwu also returned following time on the sidelines in 2021, showing that he was fully recovered from his ACL repair with a hardened, come-from-behind stoppage win against Carlos Ulberg at UFC 259 in March. The Fortis MMA product followed that up with a similar effort against Danilo Marques in June, but landed on the opposite end of a stoppage result in his November pairing with Da Un Jung. With 18 of the 23 combined fights ending inside of the distance, someone is either going to get finished or will end up with an early fight of the year contender when these two hit the octagon on Saturday in Las Vegas, per the author. Spencer Kite at Spencer Kite. Marina Maratz versus Maria Agapova. The main event isn't the only grudge match between former teammates slated for this Saturday's fight card, as Marina Moratz and Maria Agapova also look to settle their differences by punching each other in the face this weekend. Though she enters on a 2-fight winning streak, it has been almost 2 years since Moratz last stepped to the octagon, as the 30-year-old Iron Lady has been forced to withdraw from a few different bouts since her March 2020 debut win over Mayra Bueno Silva. Sporting a 4-3 record since her debut upset win over Joanne Calderwood, Moratz appeared to be settling into life into the flyweight division before being sidelined since that final event prior to the pandemic. Agapova returned for the first time in well over a year last October, rebounding from her historic upset loss to Shana Dobson by putting a hurting on Sabina Matzo, displaying the same slick boxing and confidence that made her a highly regarded prospect when she first reached UFC, coupled with an improved patience and poise. The 24-year-old from Kazakhstan picked apart the Colombian veteran through the first 2 rounds before dropping her with a beautiful 2-punch combo and securing a fight-ending choke early in the third. What's up, Connor McCabe? What's up, dude? I'm just hanging out, talking a little UFC. Was doing a little Chicago Fire preview earlier. Did a little power rankings for the MLS after that, and now we're getting into the final part of the show where we're doing a little UFC analysis and betting research while we get ready to bet this weekend for UFC, Connor McCabe. So everybody, of course, thanks for the pause there, Connor. Kick that like button. If you subscribe to Spinning Fire, it would utterly delight us. And of course, if you ring that bell icon, let Chicago know. Chicago Fire here, and you're here live when we are. Moratz and Agapova don't like each other, with a feud dating back to their time training at America Top Team. They've actually had some unkind things to say about each other, but the talkings end this weekend. Got a few fights left here for you folks. Brian Kelleher versus Umar Nurmagomedov, who is Khabib's cousin. So Brian Kelleher versus Umar Nurmagomedov, who is Khabib's cousin. Fresh off a last-minute bump up to featherweight on the first card of the year, veteran Brian Kelleher returns to take on undefeated prospect Umar Nurmagomedov on Saturday's prelims in a matchup of bantamweights competing at 145. Boom! Has taken on anyone, anytime, any division approach since reaching the UFC in 2017, splitting time between 35 and 45, cobbling together an 8-5 record. After landing on the wrong side of the results in his twice-delayed showdown with Ricky Simon to start last year, the Long Island native has registered consecutive decision wins over Domingo Pilarte and Kevin Kroom to enter this one with a solid amount of momentum. The 25-year-old cousin, meanwhile, of the former UFC lightweight champion Nurmagomedov, I can't say his name right, sorry chat, impressed in his promotional debut last January on Fight Island, securing a second-round submission win over Sergey Muratsov. Don't let his last name fool you, though. The 13-0 bantamweight prospect is not just a grappler, as he operates from more of a bouncy karate-based stance and throws a ton of kicks. Something you never saw from his cousin Khabib, especially when they were fighting bears and wrestling bears. Can Kelleher keep things moving by Nurmagomedov? Nurmagomedov? Can't say it, chat. Nurmagomedov? His first career loss, or will the undefeated UFC sophomore continue rolling and further establish himself as a person of interest in the 135-pound weight class going forward? I'm like an Umar in that fight there, chat. Tim Elliott versus, I don't know who you guys like, but let me know. Tagir Ulanbekov versus Tim Elliott. Ranked flyweights looking to kick off 2022 in impressive fashion share the octagon here as the former title challenger Tim Elliott takes on streaking Russian Tagir Ulanbekov. A fixture of the division for the majority of the last decade, the 35-year-old Elliott has settled on into a role as a veteran litmus test for in the 125-pound weight class, constantly getting paired off with aspiring competitors looking to work their way up the ladder. Last time out, the James Krause-trained veteran dropped a close decision on Mateusz Nicolau, snapping a 2-fight winning streak. Ulanbekov extended his winning streak to a 4 victory over Bruno Bulldog Silva in his promotional debut back in October 2020, before landing on the happy side of a split decision verdict in his sophomore UFC appearance against Alan Nascimento at UFC 267 1 year later. The 30-year-old is 13-1 overall and trains alongside Khabib and lightweight standout Islam Makhachev, while brandishing the same kind of elite potential each of his teammates has displayed. And of course, you're talking about Tagir Ulanbekov. This will be an outstanding test for the surging Ulanbekov, as Elliott has a wealth of experience and has always been a difficult puzzle to solve inside of the octagon. The flyweight division has never been deeper and more competitive than it is now, and this is another example of just how exciting business is in the 125 weight class at the moment. I think you should bet Tagir Ulanbekov all day there, boys and girls. Just to review the bets I would be making. Of course, you want to try and flip them every once in a while, maybe hedge them, but I'm liking Colby Covington, Renato Moicano, Edson Barbosa, Kevin Holland, Sergey Spivak, I don't know about Turner Malarkey yet. Rodriguez and Zhao Nan. I'm going to go with Yan. I think Kennedy. Agapova versus Marat. I think we're going to go Marat. Then we're going to go Umar. Tagir. 2 fights left here, chat. Devontae Smith versus Ludovic Klein. Former prospects looking to start rebuilding momentum meet in this short notice pairing as Devontae Smith takes on Ludovic Klein. A member of the DWC's class of 2018, Smith won his first 28-2 of UFC appearances in blistering fashion, collecting the first round stoppage with wins over Julian Erosa and Dong Hyun Ma. A knockout loss to Kama Worthy slowed his momentum, but a return to action and the win column against Justin James after more than a year on the sidelines got him moving in the right direction again. Last time out, however, Smith got out-hustled and ultimately stopped by Jamie Malarkey, sending him into this one looking to avoid a second straight loss and a 1-3 run over his last 4 fights. Klein looked terrific in his promotional debut, taking the fight to Shane Young and getting the Hard and City kickboxing representative out of there in 66 seconds. He missed weight for the contest by a considerable margin, prompting Young and his team to question how hard he tried to make the featherweight limit for the short notice pairing. He returned to action last May and landed on the wrong side of the unanimous decision verdict in an bout against Michael Truzano, and was submitted by Nate Landwehr in the 3rd round of the clash in October. The 27-year-old Slovak fighter steps up for the division while stepping in here for Eric Gonzalez, desperate to halt his 2-fight slide before it gets any worse. Yikes, not like sounding too good there for either of these competitors. I am not knowing who to bet there yet. Dustin Jacoby versus Michael Oleksiejczuk. Oleksiejczuk will be rounding out our fights here, our fight preview. Light heavyweights looking to continue their winning ways meet in Saturday's opener as veteran Dustin Jacoby squares off with Polish prospect Michael Oleksiejczuk. 9 years after finishing his first cup of coffee in the UFC, Jacoby punched his ticket back to the octagon with a win over Ty Flores in Season 4 of Dana White's Contender Series. The Factory X Muay Thai representative earned his first UFC victory on Halloween 2020 and hasn't looked back since, going 3-0-1 in 4 starts last year to move to the brink of breaking into the top 15. Oleksiejczuk snapped a 2-fight skid in his return to action following a year on the sidelines last March, landing it on the happy side of the split decision result opposite Modestas Bukauskas at UFC 260. 7 months later, the 27-year-old showcased his slick hands, boxing his way to the first round stoppage win at Shamil Gamazatov at UFC 267. There's a great deal of action on tap at the 205 pound weight class over the next couple months, and the winner of this one not only has a chance to potentially work their way into the top 15, but could also set themselves up for a significant step up in competition with the right kind of performance. Expect slick, technical striking with a high possibility of a finish when these two get the party started this weekend for UF 272. That'll be on Saturday. Well, before I think around 5 or 6 o'clock for the undercard, let's double check that for you boys and girls. 9 o'clock for the main card. Prelims are at 5. Preliminary card will be at 7, and the main card starts at 9. Once again, Covington and Masvidal. Rafa Dos Anjos versus Renato Moicano, stepping in for Fiziev last second. Edson Barboza versus Bryce Mitchell. Kevin Holland versus Alex Oliveira. Sergey Spivak versus Greg Hardy. Jalen Turner versus Jamie Malarkey. Marina Rodriguez versus Jan Zonan. Nikolai Negumereanu versus Kennedy Nezchaku. Marina Maratz versus Maria Agapova. Brian Kelleher versus Umar Nurmagomedov. Tim Elliott versus Tagir Ulanbekov. Devontae Smith versus Ludovic Klein. Dustin Jacoby versus Michael Oleksiejczuk. And already canceled was Jessica I versus Manon Fiora. Oh, that would have been nice. That would have been a nice fight to see. But an exciting card on the docket for UFC 272. Let us know who you guys are betting for in the chat below. We're excited to hear your picks for UFC 272 and MLS this weekend for Chicago Fire versus Orlando. Let us know how you guys are thinking. We're excited to hear it. As always, kick that like button. Subscribe to Spitting Fire. Put your comments below. It greatly helps burn down the YouTube algorithms and lets Chicago Fire take over YouTube, which is the general purpose and plan here. Of course, take a look at our bonfire.com shop for our awesome loot. Oh, that's right. We got Spitting Fire loot ready to go on Bonfire. Take a look at that. We got some sweet stuff for you there. As always, we also have an awesome little deal on Rareable. If you look for the Spitting Fire NFT, we donate. Plan is that we'll donate half of the I tweeted out, you buy it, half gets donated to the Fire for Food, and then we starts the next bit of the process. Starts the next step of the process, which we're so excited to do, and gives a lot more numbers out there and a lot more opportunity to help affect change in the fire community, as well as becoming the never-ending charity, the never-ending NFT, the never-ending giving NFT for the community. I'm trying to think about how I say this. So the way the NFT works, it's of course resellable, and every time it's resold, the creators, which is us, get 15% of that. We are able to take all that full money that we get, the 15% royalty fee, whatever, and fully donate that to either the Chicago Fire Food Depository, the Greater Chicago Fire Food Depository, or the Fire for Food Initiative. So either or, whatever the text, but that will always go on. 100% will always be donated. So that's the plan here at Spitting Fire. Basically, we need somebody to kick it off, get that first NFT, and then we'll release the next set of NFTs, of which when you purchase a great portion of your purchase will go towards the Fire for Food Foundation. So basically, you get something. You get an NFT. You get a number. You get the number you want for the fire jersey of your choice, and you also get to help out a great cause, and you get to help support the channel. It's a win-win-win for everybody, and we would greatly appreciate somebody kicking that off here. So we're excited to see how that turns out. And as always, from Spitting Fire, we greatly appreciate your guys' time. Hit that like button, subscribe, hit like you're shooting from half field. That like button, of course. And let people know that this is where you come to hang out and talk Chicago Fire soccer live with the live chat and have a blast. Catch you guys on the next stream. Always a blast talking with you guys. I'll catch you guys later. Spitting Fire sign off. Fire it up, footballers. Catch you guys later. Have a great one. Thanks for hanging out.